This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with Violent Gentlemen. I'm glad to say we're joined by the hitman, Stevie McKenna. How are you, mate?
Yeah, keeping well. How are you?
Always fantastic. I was sort of saying, just as we were setting up, I wasn't surprised to see you in the gym, but when it's so close by to your house, why not?
Yeah, I don't leave the gym, so it's just right outside the back door. So, always in it.
It's probably like a throwback sort of, in years gone by, people that lived and breathed in the gym. More days now, people are only really in the gym and they're preparing for a fight, whereas you're in the gym every day, working hard. I don't think anybody could slate your work ethic in boxing, because I don't think every second of every round you're throwing a punch somewhere. So it's clear to see that you're always in the gym.
Yeah, I never leave the gym. Me and my brother Aaron, we train here every day, and my dad's my coach, so we make a great team, and everything happens in here. In the ring behind me, we spar here, we do our runs here, we do our strength work, so everything's here. And then my older brother Gary, he helps out as well. He's our pad. We work in the pads with him, and we're a very close family, and we make a fantastic team.
Definitely does. I don't think anybody could fault that so far. As I sort of like to do with everybody when they first come on, I like to go on the backstory, because sometimes only wee bits of obviously where you've come from in the sport come out into the public eye sometimes. So what age did you start boxing, and why did you start boxing?
I started boxing when I was 8 years old. I was 7 turning 8, and I'd started off in karate. My dad, he did karate. He was a 3rd dan black belt, and he ran a karate school. And me and my 2 brothers started off there, but we didn't really take to it. We found it was boring. We didn't get enough action, hitting each other or anything. So we decided to go down to the local boxing club, and we just fell in love with the game the minute we walked into the door into the ring. And we grew up fighting our whole lives. And then my dad built this gym for us when we were really young. It's been here since the start, and along with Aaron and Gary, we trained together our whole lives, sparring, fighting. We were all on the national team together, all Irish champions at one time. So, a lot of hard work we put into the years, and it's paying off.
It definitely is. And like, obviously when you mentioned karate, I think I was very young, sort of. Your family always want to sometimes get you to be able to defend yourselves, and karate probably teaches you discipline and everything else. But if you want to fight, karate's not the sport. It's sort of, it's like shadow boxing in a way. You never get to fight anybody. It's hard to be excited about it. So I'm not surprised, obviously, seeing your career so far and going, no, karate wouldn't have been for you or for Gary.
Yeah.
What was your motivation then? What was your motivation in the sport early on? Who did you sort of look to as idols sort of in the sport?
Growing up, I looked up to a lot of fighters. We're good friends with Kevin McBride. He was always there for words of motivation. When the time he beat Mike Tyson, we were only young boys, and growing up, I was a big fan of Manny Pacquiao and Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. I used to watch them a lot when I was younger on YouTube. I've always been a big boxing fan, and watching fights and studying different styles of fighters. So I tried to take a leaf out of each fighter and bring it into my own. And I want to be an entertaining fighter, and want to go the whole way to the top while doing it, win world titles and bring them back home to Ireland.
And then obviously when you're looking at idols like that, when you watch them and study them so much, it's probably important. Like, probably some of the amateur boxers coming through now will probably look to more of the new school type. Probably your likes of your Katie Taylors, your Carl Framptons, Ryan Burnett's obviously as well, been a world champion. But they will look to more of the new breed of fighters now, whereas you were looking at more of the old school type, the ones that went to 15 rounds and had a real ding dong war. They went down 5 times in a round and they still got up. It was different to what it is now. And obviously Barry McGuigan, obviously close by as well. So, another inspiration they have there is another world champion lived by close. So I think from what I gather, you had 179 fights as an amateur, would that be correct, on 155 ones?
Yeah, no, on my card I had 155 and 131 wins, but I probably had over 200. That's just on the card, but I had a lot of fights off the card and a lot of international experience. I've been in Russia 6 or 7 times along with my brother Aaron as well, and I've been all over the world through boxing, and I've won a lot of things in the amateurs, and I'm looking to bring that into the pros, and I want to win a world title.
And how did you find amateur boxing? Because like I know when you won the European Youth Silver, you're actually a flyweight, and they think of you now at 6 foot, and it's and that was probably only a few years ago as well. So it's something's happened obviously in the last few years. You just completely stretched out. I guess you found your man strength nearly in a way, but like European Youth Silver as a flyweight, and then European Youth Gold as a bantamweight. So you really started to grow very quickly.
Yeah, 2015, I won five medals in the 1 year. I won I won the under-18 Irish Championships. I won a bronze medal at the Mini World Championships. I won a Youth Commonwealth Games gold medal, and then a European silver medal, and then I came back and won the Irish Elite Championships all in the 1 year. So it was a year that I really broke through, and my name got out there. Then it was a massive year for me. But the amateurs, the 3 rounds just wasn't enough. For my style of fighting, I think I'm more suited to the pros. I'm built for the longer rounds, and it's going to stand me. Once I go up in the rounds, you'll see. I don't get tired, and for the 12 rounds, I'll be non-stop.
And I think that's what we've sort of got to notice so far. Your record obviously as a pro now, you're 9-0 with 8 knockouts. Was obviously your fight with obviously your last fight with Musagari last week. Are you sort of relieved in some ways the streak's over, because everybody keeps going, he's 8-0 with 8 knockouts? Does it disappoint you didn't stop him?
Yeah, well, a lot of people always want to see the knockout, and I always go for the knockout. But it's good. It's good for a chance to get a few rounds under my belt. It was just what I needed. It's important to get a few rounds under the belt. But I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and keep winning. That's the main thing. As long as you come out, win, and keep improving. And
I guess sometimes it's good to hear. Sometimes you're getting the rounds on, because I'm sure like if you're throwing 3 or 4 punches someone in the first round, they go down and they don't get back up, you're going, I've put the effort in the training, I want a few rounds here. So it was probably good matchmaking in a way that they got you somebody like Musagari was able to stand up to the punishment, but it was giving you something different for your brain to go, he's not getting out of here, I just have to keep going. And like, you were relentless, non-stop action. It was like he was probably thinking to himself at times, like, when's this guy going to slow down?
Yeah, it was a good test and fight for me. It was just what I needed. As I said, he came to fight. He came to win. He was a tough guy. I caught him with lovely body shots. Many people would have went down, but he was tough, and you can see he came in well prepared, and he wanted to stand and fight and stand his ground. So it's a great fight for me to get six valuable rounds, and it's gonna make me better and keep pushing forward.
Definitely is. And sort of, your transition into pro boxing, did you never really have sort of ambitions for Olympics and things like that? Was it always you just were like, the pro route was always something you were going to go down?
Yeah, always, ever since it started, it was always to be a professional fighter and win world titles as a pro. I always would have liked to want the Olympics, as well. I always, as an amateur, I had sights in the Olympics, but my main goal was in the professional ranks. Stepping into the pros and winning world titles. I want to, bring entertaining fights, and be one of Ireland's best fighters.
And I know when it's obviously the Olympics had just passed there, and obviously Kelly brought home a gold, and Aidan Walsh brought home a bronze. And I think I was speaking to, I think it was Jay Quigley just after, and obviously he never got to go to the Olympics, and he was going, when he was watching, he was going, I wish I was there. I'm sure it was probably similar to yourself. You were going, you know what, I wish I was there. And you nearly sometimes go, why did I turn pro? But, you know, the methods and the madness, obviously, and now you're going, I'm building for the future. Now it's getting success as a pro.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the Olympics, you know, being pushed back and that. If I had have waited and attempted for the Olympics, you know, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm 9-0. I'm in a really good part of my career. I'm 24 years of age, and I'm coming into my prime. So I'm at a really good point in my career as a professional. You know, I turned pro very young, along with my brother Aaron. He's 12-0 now, and he's only 22 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
He is a massive future ahead of him.
And with Aaron starting pro out first, I guess everybody always sort of knew you were going to go, you know, you were always there with him in America, sparring and things like that. What was there something that you just had to know about the pro ranks before you decided to turn pro in 2019, or?
Yeah, well, I was growing, so I was moving up through the weight division. So it was all about, you know, finding the proper weight division and, you know, being strong in it. So it took a few years. You know, I was working hard in the gym over in America, you know, filling out and filling into my weight division. So I spent 3 years in America in total. But the first year I was just in all the gyms sparring anyone I could get my hands on. You know, I sparred a lot of top guys. I sparred Lomachenko, Jose Ramirez, Jose Zapata, you know, many fighters, and this was all before I even turned pro. And I was doing really well in sparring with these guys, and you know, it brought me on tremendously. So going in with them guys, I knew what, you know, it gave me great confidence in what I could do, and moving into the pros.
Definitely does, and it gets more heads turning as well when you're seeing that you're sparring Lomachenko, and they're going, "Hey, is this guy? You know, what's he doing in the ring with Lomachenko? What's your pro record?" And you're going, "I haven't made my debut yet."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Quite surreal. But obviously 2019 started, and you know you get off to a flyer, off to 4-0, and then probably the worst thing that could have happened was the pandemic. I'm sure when obviously the pandemic hit, there was obviously uncertainty for a lot of people. You know, they thought it was maybe going to be here for a month or so. Probably when you look back in hindsight, it probably really hasn't slowed you down because you fought 5 times over the last year. How did the link up come with Hennessey Sports? I know you obviously recently signed a deal with them as well. Is that more of a long-term deal or more just whilst things are uncertain at the moment?
Yeah, I've signed a deal with Hennessey Sports. So when we came back during the pandemic, you know, nothing much changed for us really. We had the gym here at our house. We had everything there for us. We didn't struggle at all. We just kept doing what we were doing, and it was just like normality. So me and my brother Aaron just kept training, and I was staying ready. And I got a phone call saying there's an opportunity to fight on a Mick Hennessey card in 3.5 weeks it was. So I was in the gym ready, sparring away with Aaron, working hard, and I took the opportunity and fought in the show and got a first round knockout. So we talked with Mick, and you know, I know Mick really well, good friends with him, and know him throughout the years in the amateurs. I know his son Michael really well, a great fighter as well. But I signed a deal with Mick Hennessey, and I'm looking forward to, you know, an exciting future with Mick. I've signed a good deal, and he has a massive plan for me coming forward. Big fights coming here in the UK and possibly back in Ireland as well.
Yeah, that'll be a big one. Obviously, I know Irish boxing, particularly in the south, obviously hasn't really been able to showcase. Obviously, a lot, you know, fighters are having to go to Belfast or over in the mainland UK to get fights as well. So I guess when he's saying he's going to bring fights to Ireland, it's news to your ears, and that's what you want.
Yeah, it'd be great to have fights back in Ireland. You know, Ireland's, you know, the spot for professional boxing, and the crowds deserve it. You know, the fans deserve boxing, and I'd love to headline a fight back here in Ireland. You know, hopefully bring a world title back, and it'd be great.
Definitely would. It's something to look forward to. Who would you say sort of, because like nearly sometimes I would probably say on a weekly basis, it's nearly like a game of guess who you and your brother Aaron's going to be sparring. Who would you say has probably been your favourite spar so far?
My favourite spar, I'd say the Lomachenko one. You know, it was great to get into the ring with him. One of the pound for pound best, and you know, it was just a great learning spar for me to, you know, be in with the best, and it was a great spar to get. Not many people have been in the ring with Lomachenko, and just to see him, you know, fight, and you know, sparring him when I was still an amateur, you know, it was really good to get. So it's probably my favorite spar, and you know, it was good.
With your sort of style as well as a really come forward fighter, was it sort of whenever you were sparring him, it was like, where did you go? You know, because he moves very, very quickly, and you probably get red mist very quickly as well, because you think you have him, you're going to land a punch, and then all of a sudden he's behind you, tapping you in the shoulder, going, "Where are you at?"
Yeah, I can fight really, really well as well. You know, box and move as well. It's something that you haven't seen in any of my fights yet. But I had actually sparred him in southpaw. They were fighting Jose Pedraza, and they wanted southpaw sparring. So I told them that I was southpaw, and I just went in and pretended, you know. But I can fight either stance very comfortably, and you know, did really well. So not only did I have to fight him in you know, spar him, I had to spar him in my opposite stance. So.
Definitely, not giving away any secrets there. With yourself and Aaron, obviously you're now 9-0 with 8 knockouts, and Aaron's 12-0. Is there any brotherly rivalry? Obviously, you know, when you have brothers and sisters, they always fight the bits out. Do you just want the best of each other, or are you pushing each other on to new boundaries?
Yeah, we like to push each other on. We're very you know, competitive with each other, no matter what it is. It's running, strength work, sparring. You know, we're very competitive. We're always trying to get better than each other, always trying to beat each other. You know, and it brings us on. It's what you need. If you get any, you know, if you're not pushing yourself and trying to improve, you know, it's not going to help. So we work really well together, and then my dad as well. He's there, and my brother Gary. So we're you know, a great team, and we push each other on.
And I'm sure Aaron's going to like this question, but obviously you're in the fantasy league, the Irish Boxing Fantasy League, and Aaron's beaten you so far. I'm sure, like I check it nearly every few days to sort of see where I'm at. I think I'm 25th in the rankings at the moment, so I'm well behind the twos, but I think Aaron's 4th overall so far. Is he reminding you of that, is he?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've the wild card up my sleeve for this week, so I've a good few chances to be made, and I'll beat him. I'll end up on top at the end of the year. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, so we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
I was thinking of playing the wild card myself because I have 2 strikers out, and I think I think I actually looked at Aaron's and he'd made 2 transfers, and it was showing like a minus in points somewhere, and I was thinking, I thought I'd all my transfers done, and then I realised that 2 transfers, so I've signed 2 new strikers now, so hopefully I can boost my chances, because I think Calvert-Lewin's out injured, and the striker from Newcastle as well is out injured, so I need it to strengthen. So hopefully I can push myself up the table, and I can compete with. He's maybe in the middle of the two. To see if he's from fighting it out.
Yeah, well, we'll see who wins at the end of the year. We have another league, and Jose Enriquez in it. Aaron's good friends with him, so he joined that, and we're in a league with him. He's a former Liverpool player as well, so we have good competition.
And you are both, is it true that you and Aaron are both big Liverpool fans as well?
Yeah, we're massive Liverpool fans. We always try to get to a game while we can, and go over to Anfield probably, you know, Christmas time when we were home from America. So we always like to get to a game when we get the chance. You know, it's always nice to go and do something after your fights, and we like watching Liverpool play.
And I'm sure probably a nice dreams the twos they have for these both to co-main a card at Anfield in the future for world title fights.
Yeah, that'd be nice. For me and goal to get one back in Ireland first, and then we'll bring it to Anfield after. So yeah, Ireland's the spot first. Hopefully it's in Tiernack Park.
Well, I'm a Man U fan as well, so sort of not really hope too much for Liverpool success. You know, you've probably, I would probably say, in about the last year or so, you probably had a couple of wee online sort of things with a few fighters. You had sparring with Ryan Garcia, and obviously a bit of an online spat, and then more recently you've been calling out Conor Benn. Does it probably show the ambition of yourself that you don't want to sit about and you want to test yourself in big fights?
Yeah, I want to, big fights. I want to push myself forward and, take and step up fights and calling out these guys. Like, I'd love to get a fight with Conor Benn. As I've said, I'd fight him, in the morning if I got the chance. So he's a guy that, will be on my hit list to get. And I'd say hopefully next year we could get a fight with him. Once we get up to 13, 14 and 0, we'll and push myself up through the rankings. It'll be a fight that'll be easily made. So that's the fight I'd like to get.
And I know that obviously quite a few boxers obviously call Conor out. Obviously, his father was obviously a legend in the sport, and obviously he's carrying on the mantle. But I know Lewis Croger's called him out the last few years. You've obviously been calling him out for a bit as well, and even Florian Markey. I think I actually put up the other day to say a fight between you and Florian Markey. Two people calling him out, and the winner then fights him. I'm sure you'd probably have one hand behind your back for Markey.
Yeah, that's a fight that we could make happen as well. It'd be a great fight to get. Yeah, see, he was calling like Conor Benn, so we could make that fight happen as well. Yeah,
definitely have it like a triple threat match. And obviously the winners fight Conor. It'd be a nice one.
Yeah.
Where did it go? So I've sort of missed one out there. So your style, obviously, so far we've all seen is all been aggression, but you've sort of said that you have more to bring to it. Obviously, your approach so far, for anybody that's obviously watched you so far, you don't give your opponent a chance to breathe. When do you think you'll sort of change and sort of start boxing maybe off the back foot? Is it just whenever you feel that it's a fight that's going to challenge you?
Yeah, the bigger fights, step up in opponents. The better the opponent, the better I come out. I know how to win a fight and know what way of doing it. So the bigger the fights, the better you're going to see me as well. I've been working hard in the gym. I know what I can do, and I'm just looking forward to big future fights. You're going to be seeing a lot. Hopefully finish off the year with 2 more fights. Finish at 11-0 before the end of the year and push forward for a massive 2022.
And I guess the good thing as well is when you're not showing your arsenal to your opponents, they don't know what they look for. They just expect you just to come like a raging bull, sort of firing shots everywhere, and then all of a sudden you decide, no, I'm just going to stand on the back foot and I'm going to jab you. Then they'll be going, where's our plan B? We only thought Stevie was going to come with plan A, and he's got plan B, plan C, and plan D, and you'll have them sort of scratching their head in the ring going, what's going on?
Yeah, they'll soon see it. So the hitman has plenty of tricks up the sleeve.
Definitely doesn't it? They say it's a magician, obviously, of all trade. So you sort of said you're looking to be out twice more before the end of the year. You sort of had, I think Brett had obviously said, I think potentially maybe back out again in October and then maybe one in December. You probably maybe share the same card again.
Yeah, I think it's November and December. So fight in November and then December all goes well, fight in December. So looking to finish off the year strong. Maybe we could get a title fight, maybe a youth world title maybe, or a title fight would be nice to get, finish off the year in a 10-rounder and finish off the year strong.
And your ideal sort of weight you'd like to campaign at the minute, is it going to be super lightweight or is it going to be welter?
Welterweight. So that fight was at 147 and make the weight very comfortable. Moved up from super lightweight. I'm feeling strong at the 147 pound weight division, and I'm still filling out and still growing. So I'll be a really strong welterweight.
And it definitely is, and obviously, you know, welterweight, you probably look at other similar talents. You know, even on the age of 25, you've Lewis Crocker here in Belfast and Paddy Donovan as well. I think Paddy was actually looking as well at the WBC youth. So, you know, I know there's different youth belts available in different organisations. So, do you ever think of obviously any all Irish clashes in the future? You know, as I guess it's people's going to go on similar different paths of where they want to go, but the potential could be there for an all Irish world title fight in the future with one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be open to anything. Whatever Mick has planned for me, I'll fight anyone. Whoever they put in front of me, you know, I'll have no problem fighting. So it's going to be exciting over the next couple of years. We're going to see a lot of big fights happening in Ireland and the UK, especially after, you know, with this COVID. A lot of fighters have been active, and people just want to get busy, and big fights are going to be made, hopefully.
Definitely is, and I say hopefully now we're coming to the end of it as well. That you know, more and more fights can happen. I know potentially we're going to have maybe 3, maybe 4 more cards, north and south of Ireland, obviously before the end of the year. So it's exciting times for fans. Obviously you're managed by Sheer Sports as well. Still, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously your fellow Irishman and Jay Quigley is potentially in the frame now to be fighting Bobo Andrade for world title. I'm sure within the stable it's going to be massive, but it'll be great to have another man's world champion again in boxing.
Yeah, it's great to have a fight for world title. You know, a lot of Irish legends, you know, winning world titles. So it'd be good to see him bring home world title.
Definitely, but I'm sure it'll bring more opportunities as well for cards and stuff in the south in particular. What sort of goals and aspirations have you set yourself then over the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, I want to hopefully next year break into the top 15 in the world, you know, and bring on big fights and hopefully win a title. You know, if not at the end of the year, early next year, I want to be fighting for titles, and I want to keep taking step off fights and keep improving. So it's going to be a massive year next year, and it's something that I'm going to be ready for, and I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, as I'm sure everybody else will be looking forward to as well, because you're very far in the sport as well. It's probably not if it's when sort of and how many weights, you know, because you're transgressing up through the weights, you know, you've been multi-weight world champion as well, which would be great to see. But obviously I want to thank you, Steve, for coming on having the chat. But we're supposed to have Aaron on as well, but I think Aaron's delayed for a week. He probably wanted to test how yours went first to see if you called him out. But we obviously want to thank you for stopping and having the chat, and we'll hopefully catch up again soon.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
100%, Stevie. Cheers. Take care.
Right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.